are heading towards quite possibly the biggest Elimination Chamber event of all time in Perth, Australia. And on the road to WrestleMania 40, this is going to be an extremely pivotal show. And with this show, that's most likely not going to have Roman Reigns. That's not going to have the World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins either. How is this card going to play out? Today, we're going to fantasy book the entire Elimination Chamber match card. And it'll also lead into the next video on the channel, which is going to be discussing kind of my updated thoughts on the WrestleMania card, my predictions for it, if you will. And of course, you will see throughout this Elimination Chamber card kind of where I see some of these storylines heading towards WrestleMania 40. So let's get into this fantasy booking. Alright, so we will kick off the Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia with the homecoming of the Aussie icon, Grayson Waller. There's no way he's not going to be on this show. Two people who have to be on this show. They're from Australia. Grayson Waller and Indy Hartwell. We'll talk about her later in this video. And Grayson Waller is on record. I saw the video just a few weeks ago saying when he goes to Australia, he ain't going to be one of those heels who tries to get his hometown crowd to boo him. He's going in ready for the hometown reception. And even though he's going to be working one of the top baby faces in this fantasy booking, that top baby face can easily just play the heel for the night. Not in a dastardly tactic way, but if they're going to boo him, they're going to boo him. Just do your storyline and move on with it. But the matchup I would have at the Elimination Chamber is Grayson Waller one-on-one versus Kevin Owens. Now, this stipulation, I should say the stipulation for this matchup, if Kevin Owens wins, he earns another opportunity at Logan Paul's United States Championship. Clearly, they have unfinished business coming out of the Royal Rumble. We'll see what's going to happen tonight on SmackDown, the day this video goes out, updating us on that storyline. Maybe they're going to face off once again at the Elimination Chamber, but at the time of making this video, I am going to make a prediction and say that Kevin Owens takes on Logan Paul at WrestleMania, because if he doesn't, I don't know what else Kevin Owens has. Maybe teaming up with fill-in-the-blank superstar versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, but Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, that's obviously the better option for KO. Now, the alternate idea for Logan Paul at WrestleMania, and I've been saying this for a while, as have other people, is Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. But although I could very much still see that happening, the way the Royal Rumble panned out with the Fatal 4-Way matchup, AJ Styles going for the phenomenal forearm, LA Knight being pushed into the ropes, Knight knocking Styles down, everything we've seen in the build-up to that Fatal 4-Way, I could easily see them going Styles versus LA Knight one-on-one, just two of SmackDown's top stars at WrestleMania. I could see them going that route, and I think that is a more likely route at this point. So LA Knight, I'd have him go fight AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and as for the Elimination Chamber, Kevin Owens somehow gets through Grayson Waller with interference from Austin Theory. I'm sure Logan Paul, he already said he was going to be in Australia, so he can make his way out there trying to interfere in this match. Maybe somebody comes to Kevin Owens' aid to try to even the odds, but Kevin Owens would defeat Grayson Waller in Australia, and Kevin Owens would earn himself another opportunity for the United States Championship at WrestleMania 40. Next, we would move into our first of two Elimination Chamber matches of the night, this one being for the Women's World Championship. As you can see on your screen, the participants, Rhea Ripley defending against the man Becky Lynch, of course, Australia's own Indy Hartwell, Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, and Tiffany Stratton, who had a hell of a performance in the Royal Rumble match. And you guys are going to think it's actually the opposite, but I'm telling you, I wrote Tiffany Stratton in this fantasy booking. The next day, there's rumors that she might be on Raw before WrestleMania, and I'm all for that. I would bring Tiffany Stratton up to the main roster. You can do it after WrestleMania, but in this case, I brought her up before just to have some more top talent in this Elimination Chamber matchup. Couple of reasons why I decided to put the women's world title on the line as well. Of course, and I didn't even mention her, but obviously Rhea Ripley has to be on this show. She's on the poster for the show. She's from Australia. She's going to be on this show, and it's going to be in one of two ways. Either defending the title inside the chamber itself, or defending it one-on-one versus Nia Jax. The only problem, in my opinion, if she defends the title against Nia Jax, there's still most likely going to be a women's Elimination Chamber matchup, and it's not going to be from the SmackDown side, I'm assuming, because one, Io Sky's beaten pretty much everybody over there already, and Bayley's over there, the Royal Rumble match winner, so it makes sense for the chamber match for the women to take place with Raw superstars. But if you take Rhea out and you take Nia out, well, outside of Becky Lynch, you really don't have a lineup on Monday Night Raw of top talent that could actually win this Elimination Chamber match. Listen, I love some of the talent like Candice LeRae and Chelsea Green and Piper. Like, you have names on Monday Night Raw, don't get me wrong, but nobody legitimate enough that actually has a chance to go to WrestleMania to challenge for the Women's World Championship. It would be Becky Lynch and 5 just, you know, basically just roadblocks for her to knock down and have an easy win at Elimination Chamber. So what I would do instead is fill up this matchup with some top talent, all of your top talent from Monday Night Raw, Liv Morgan included, obviously unfinished business with Rhea Ripley that they have to address eventually. Indy Hartwell obviously doesn't stand a chance, but like I said, you gotta have her in there. And then I would throw Tiffany Stratton, one of the biggest names from NXT, coming up to Monday Night Raw. I think you have a pretty solid field for the Women's World Championship, and I would have Rhea Ripley retain that title. Her and Becky Lynch start the match, her and Becky Lynch end the match, and Rhea barely survives, but she somehow finds a way to defeat Becky Lynch. Maybe Dominic Mysterio's running in there somehow, distracting the ref, or handing Rhea like a weapon through the chamber and she uses it on Becky. Something like that, but point is, Rhea barely survives Becky Lynch and retains her Women's World Championship. And then all you got to do to set up Rhea versus Becky, if that's the way you're going to go, at WrestleMania, is simply just have Becky Lynch call out Rhea Ripley on an episode of Raw, have a #1 contenders battle royal or something like that. Something where if there's a little bit less name value in that #1 contenders match, it's on Raw. It's not inside the Elimination Chamber. So it's a little bit, you know, lesser deal, if that makes sense. This is the way I would go for the Chamber. Rhea Ripley defending the Women's World title, retaining the Women's World title, and then going on to defend against Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. So before we talk about what the next match on this card would be, let's talk about the Judgment Day, and more specifically, Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest. Now, I have said in multiple videos by now, I do not think Damian Priest is going to have a successful Money in the Bank cash-in, and I honestly don't see a point of him even bringing that briefcase past WrestleMania 40. After WrestleMania is kind of a quote-unquote new year in the WWE, might as well just start fresh, get rid of the briefcase beforehand, and honestly, I think Damian Priest losing that briefcase before WrestleMania is just going to play into his WrestleMania plans anyway. And as we just saw on Monday Night Raw, the Judgment Day beating the hell out of R-Truth, and of course The Miz as well, but Damian Priest was like, I ain't gonna be the one to do it. He still has a connection, a friendship with R-Truth. And we got a couple of weeks to go, I believe 3, until the Elimination Chamber. And Seth Rollins, even though he's injured, is still on Monday Night Raw. He was just there this past Monday doing the promo with Cody. So, however you want to do it, maybe Rollins is just out there cutting a promo and the Judgment Day jump him, or Priest jumps him, or somebody else jumps him, and then Priest comes out. Whatever you want to do, Damian Priest attempts the Money in the Bank cash-in in the next 3 weeks on Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And somehow, some way, R-Truth cost him that matchup. And Damian Priest might look silly in defeat, but you know what? If there's got to be one more Money in the Bank casualty, it is what it is. It's no fault to Damian Priest, but as the story said last summer, and obviously there's probably more to the details, I believe Vince McMahon, while he was trying to weasel his way back into creative, wanted Logan Paul, Triple H wanted LA Knight, and they decided on Damian Priest. I'm sure there's more details than that, but that is pretty much, from what we understand, why Priest has even been holding this briefcase the entire time anyway. So if there's got to be one more casualty until hopefully whoever wins the 2024 briefcase goes on to be successful, it is what it is. Truth cost Damian Priest the Money in the Bank, so we finally get rid of that. And then we move in to a big old 8-man tag at the Elimination Chamber. The Judgment Day, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Dirty Dominic Mysterio taking on the baby faces they have been feuding with, especially on Raw this past week, R-Truth, The Miz, and DIY, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. Basically, this would just be a lot of fun, but the most important thing here is that Damian Priest takes the pinfall. I would like to see Gargano or Ciampa pin him because they would go on to get another tag team title match, but as long as Damian Priest takes the pinfall in this matchup, we're accomplishing the goal. Following Monday Night on Raw, we waste no time. DIY versus Judgment Day, round 2. You could even make it a triple threat with Awesome Truth if you wanted to, but the undisputed tag team titles are on the line. DIY wins the tag team titles. Once again, Damian Priest is eating the pin. So now Priest has lost his Money in the Bank thanks to R-Truth, ate the pin in the 8-man tag, and is the reason that the Judgment Day lost the tag team titles. And now that the Money in the Bank's out of the equation, the tag team titles are out of the equation, the Judgment Day turn on Damian Priest. Beat the hell out of him. Damian Priest goes away for a couple of weeks. When he comes back, reconnects with R-Truth. They squash whatever beef. Obviously, Priest and Miz might not see eye to eye, but common enemy in the Judgment Day. And we just go on to have a simple, old-fashioned, harmless 6-man tag at WrestleMania. Finn, JD, and Dominic versus Priest, Truth, and The Miz. I'll tell you right now, Dominic Mysterio, I don't see him being left off WrestleMania, but outside of some multi-person tag with the Judgment Day, I don't see what he's going to do. I don't see him getting involved in any Rey Mysterio business over on SmackDown, and he's not getting involved in any other championship business right now. JD McDonough, he could be left off the show, but if there's going to be a multi-person Judgment Day tag, he's going to be involved in there. And Truth being the X Factor and the Judgment Day exploding just makes the most sense. And honestly, like, again, harmless 6-man tag that if you've been watching the show, kind of makes the most sense. Judgment Day versus Priest, Truth, and then The Miz. I would honestly go that route for WrestleMania. Give him 10 minutes. I'm sure it'd be fun. We can move on afterwards. But next up on this Elimination Chamber card, WWE Women's Championship on the line from SmackDown and a last chance matchup. Bianca Belair, one more round with Io Sky. Winner is going to go on to defend against Bayley at WrestleMania. This is obviously Bianca and Io have ran it a lot over the past year, whether it was when Bianca was champion, Io was champion, they ran it multiple times, which is why if they're going to do it one more time, and I would do it one more time for the stories I'm trying to tell and the matches I'm trying to get to at WrestleMania, double it the last chance. Bianca, you've had opportunities time and time again. One more time, me and you, Bianca and Io Sky, but this is it. You lose, no more chances. And even though they've had plenty of matches, obviously we know it would be killer. And again, most important thing here is the last chance opportunity for Bianca Belair, which she would of course lose thanks to Asuka and Kairi Sane getting involved. The numbers game of Damage Control once again sidelining Bianca Belair's championship desires. Io Sky goes on to WrestleMania 40 to defend against Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship. Bianca Belair has got an issue with Asuka and Kairi specifically now, and Bianca's going to need a number to fill out that team. And who would I recruit Bianca to team with at WrestleMania? That would be the woman who just returned this past Saturday night, that being Naomi. Naomi, I definitely see being a huge star in the women's division in 2024. I don't really see her being left off WrestleMania, and I think Bianca and Naomi, a great team to put together, that when you put them against Asuka and Kairi, really feels like the biggest women's tag team title match you could possibly do at WrestleMania. So that's the route I would go for both of those championships. Next, we will have our second of two Elimination Chamber matches, this one to determine the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. In this matchup, as you can see, we have Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bronson Reed, another guy who I definitely see making his way onto this card, obviously an Australian. I said Grayson Waller and Indy Hartwell at the top of this video, forgot everybody else. Doesn't matter. Bronson Reed in this matchup, and I would throw Andrade in there as well. Just signed to Monday Night Raw on Monday, and I'm not really sure where Andrade is going to fall for WrestleMania, but if there's a spot in this Elimination Chamber match, Andrade can rub some elbows with the biggest names on Raw, McIntyre, Jay, Sammy. Why not? Throw him in there. You know it'd be a killer performance, and it kind of evens out the faces and heels. Andrade kind of came out of the Rumble pretty much looking like a face, so for now, I'm going to treat him as such. Andrade, Jay, and Sammy can be your baby faces in this match. Bronson Reed, Drew McIntyre, Nakamura, your heels in this match, even though Reed would get cheered, but you know, you get the point. Now, like I said, Andrade, I don't know where he ends up on WrestleMania. Same thing with Reed and Nakamura. Those just might be some of the WrestleMania snubs, unfortunately. I'd love if they brought back a Battle Royal for specifically WrestleMania, not the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that they've been doing on SmackDown. I would love, just move it back to WrestleMania and actually give the winner like a title shot or something. That way it feels like it's worth watching, but that's a whole nother discussion. But you got Jay, Sammy, and McIntyre as your legit contenders in this matchup. Jey Uso, of course, gotta face Jimmy Uso at WrestleMania. He's out of there. Final two in this matchup, not just by process of elimination in discussion, but the final two I would have in this chamber match, of course, McIntyre and Sami Zayn. Now, I can very much see a world where we get a triple threat with McIntyre, Zayn, and Rollins at WrestleMania, but of course, only one guy can win the Elimination Chamber match. You could honestly do a similar finish than what you got on Monday Night Raw this past week with McIntyre. Obviously, this time around was an unintentional low blow followed by the Claymore. Maybe inside the chamber, even though it's no holds barred, anything goes. He does it again, this time on purpose. Couple of Claymore kicks and really just beats the hell out of Sami Zayn. McIntyre wins the Elimination Chamber and solidifies his spot for WrestleMania. You gotta find Sami Zayn's way into WrestleMania if it's gonna be a triple threat matchup, but if it's just gonna be one or the other, I would go McIntyre. So I would say Drew McIntyre wins this Elimination Chamber. If they're gonna add Sami Zayn, figure out another way. Challenges McIntyre for his spot on Monday Night Raw, has to win a match, an opponent chosen by McIntyre to get at, like whatever loophole they want to go through on Monday Night Raw. But as for the Elimination Chamber, McIntyre secures his #1 contendership to fight Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. No matter what, that's the matchup I would go. If it's one-on-one, McIntyre definitely wins, and then you're set up for McIntyre versus Punk in the summer of 2024 for the World Heavyweight title. And then the main event, this Elimination Chamber, you gotta have some big names on this show. Roman Reigns, I don't expect to be there. Seth Rollins can't wrestle on this show. So what are we gonna have main event? Well, we got the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match winner, that being the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, obviously by this point officially choosing to fight Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, teaming up with the Apex Predator Randy Orton, little legacy reunion to take on Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. Randy Orton, I think, has two options for WrestleMania. It's either going to be him and Solo again, which I prefer not. I would have been down for that if they didn't just run it a few weeks ago on SmackDown and Orton beat Solo in like 5 minutes. So that's kind of off the table for me personally at Mania. But like this matchup, I should say the other option first for Mania, and then we'll get back to the details. The other option for Randy Orton at Mania would be him and Nick Aldis. I expect Nick Aldis to wrestle eventually, and I don't think they did that line a couple of months ago on SmackDown where Orton paid like double for his RKO fine and then said that the rest is for next time. I don't think that was like on accident. I do think Aldis is going to wrestle eventually. I wouldn't be surprised to see Orton versus Aldis at WrestleMania 40. But Orton very well may have left the Royal Rumble as the undisputed champion if it weren't for that dastardly Solo Sikoa. So Orton's got a problem with Jimmy and Solo to settle. And again, obviously by this point, like I said, Cody would have chosen Roman Reigns' legacy, reuniting one night only, Cody and Orton teaming up to take on Jimmy and Solo. Obviously, Cody and Orton going to win this matchup. It's all just done for build for WrestleMania. And I think a little interesting factor that you could throw into this matchup, even if it's just a quick line on like the SmackDown before, Orton telling Cody, like, listen, we got this common enemy. We're going to take him out. We're friends. I love you. I respect you. I hope you win at WrestleMania, because like when you do, like I'm coming after you. And then that kind of plants the seeds for after WrestleMania when we can get an Orton heel turn. Hopefully Cody's the champ and Cody versus Orton for the title at SummerSlam this summer. Gonna be good stuff. But this is what I would main event Elimination Chamber with: Cody and Orton versus Jimmy and Solo. Nice little tag, harmless WrestleMania build. Now I pieced together a good chunk of what I think the WrestleMania 40 card is going to be throughout this video, but I will follow up with the rest of the matches in the next video here on the channel, so stay tuned for that. But that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below, and go follow me across all social medias at Noah Nation Vlogs. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.